Hello and welcome to Back to the Boardroom. I'm Greer.
And I'm James.
And this week we're talking all about shopping channels and terrible presenting, which means this episode is going to be great.
It was one to remember.
I always love the shopping channel task because it's such a weird thing to do. I always forget they exist until the Apprentice comes round and we actually see the channels working, and I bet so many people buy on them. I did want to ask though, before we get into the episode this week, have you ever watched the shopping channel, and have you ever bought anything from a shopping channel before?
So I'm ashamed to admit I have watched it, I'm sure once. I did not find it, I don't like it at all. I think the whole price dropping thing is just, I would never buy anything from it. That answers your second question.
You've never bought anything. I haven't either. I'm sure I've definitely seen it before. I've never actually sat and thought, oh, this looks good, I'm going to watch this.
Before we get into the show,
Ooh.
I need to have two things. One, the narrator update, and two, an update on the secretary. So firstly, the narrator update. And I have gone extra this week. I told you I'd get some stats, and I have got a full spreadsheet with lots of data. So firstly, I've got if you imagine a table, rows and columns of all the episodes and all the hours, and how many times that hour has been said in that episode.
This is mad. James has just sent across on our chat a colour-coded spreadsheet of all the hours, and this is part of one of our predictions, isn't it? We're trying to have some healthy competition. I say healthy. James has gone mad with the competition in this podcast.
It is. This is the best prediction.
Okay.
Don't care about all the others. This is the one.
Okay, it's a really detailed one because James loves the detail, as you well know. So this is about when the narrator says an hour every single episode. How many unique hours will the narrator say? And I mean, this is a lot of work has been put into this spreadsheet.
It's good, and it's got graphs as well. So
what?
I've just sent you over that as well. So basically, episode 9. So this episode we had 6 hours read out, 5 of which were distinct. So we had 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m. and our 2 new ones that we haven't heard before, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And as Greer will just be discovering on the graph, that raises our cumulative distinct hours to 16.
Oh, wow. There's a graph. Cumulative distinct hours. Wow. A line graph has been created.
A line graph. And so I have a question. I don't actually know the answer. Will there be narrator hours in the final 2 episodes? Because I guess it's not. I don't think there would be for the interviews, and I don't know about the final.
There might be, I guess, if they say, 2 p.m. it's presentation time or pitch time or something for the last one. Maybe, but yeah, I think you're right. I think the interviews, they know when they're going.
So that means 16 total distinct hours so far. 1 off my prediction, and probably not going to be in the interviews episode. So it's getting tight. It's tighter than I thought.
It is. I mean, I said 20 randomly, so I thought it was going to go well for me. But if you're just 1 away, I mean, you might win. A lot of the hours are repeated, so.
And I also have an answer to a question I actually asked myself last week. I think I asked, do they always say 4 a.m. in every episode? And they do not. There have been 4 episodes, actually, including today's, where they have not. So there we go.
I thought this week they got a lie-in. When they said 8 a.m, I was like, they have slept in.
I know. And poor -1 on the attendance for Lord Sugar. Need to add that.
We do. I did think it was funny whether they're all sat around and that TV popped up and he was just there chatting with them while they were trying to, enjoy a chat or a drink or something, and Lord Sugar just pops in. But no, he didn't attend. It was a pre-record. Too busy lunching.
Too busy. And the last thing, the secretary segment, quite a quick one. So 2 things. I've done some digging and noticed what the tables are on the spreadsheet. I think it's an income and expenditure kind of table split, detailing something. And also, and probably more excitingly, it looks like the secretary has got rid of her adware. You know, we discussed there was some adware in the toolbar.
Yeah.
If you scroll down on your screen, you'll find a nice comparison showing the removal of the adware in the taskbar.
You have been busy today.
Yep.
So as we said, the task this week is the shopping channel task, where the candidates have to choose some big ticket items they think are going to sell well for the viewers. And the other team then have to showcase them live on air while the others are speaking loudly into their ears, putting them off, but also at the same time telling them about the prices and the information. And one thing I kept forgetting, it is a sales task. They are not being fully judged on their presentation, even though I wish it was that. It is about who gets the most sales at the end. Now, we had a little bit of team switch up this week. Phil was moved over to the other team and swapped places with Steve. Do you think that was some strategy there by Lord Sugar?
I guess he wanted to try and get a win for Supreme, maybe.
And one of the things that we love going through is obviously when they choose project managers, whether when they fight it out to who actually gets the chance to be it, whether anything amusing comes up. And this week, I am so happy Trey knocked out of the park with insane things to say when he had claimed he'd been on TV multiple times.
Still not an international DJ, though.
He's not. We still miss Birdie. but Trey claimed that he'd been on TV in front of about 200 million people.
Oh, it went... Yeah, I think it was like 100 million. And obviously his presenting skills would be amazing because of that.
Oh, obviously. He's like, I go on TV all the time. It's fine. And I think Steve was trying to say that he'd quite like to do it as well. But no, Trey outshone him in the exaggerated claims. And then the other team, it was Raj, but there didn't seem to be any sort of fighting to who it should be. So that seemed to be pretty good. At the beginning, obviously they had to come up with some sort of strategy about what items should be bought, but most of the team didn't get to see the items that were going to be picked. So it was a weird one. Raj did say she wanted an everyday household item, but it had to have a USP, which, what?
Yeah, exactly. A massive contradiction, a unique item that is common.
And then Trey, I think even worse, he just was saying, I trust everyone to pick the item. I play the minimum products pricing by ear, just go with your gut. And I mean, the products that they went to look at, I thought all of them were pretty rubbish.
Yeah, I think that was passing the buck a bit, especially as PM. Like, I get give your team autonomy, but not that much. There has to be some direction, and I thought that was a bit poor.
Exactly. It made me laugh. We'll go through some of our top moments in a bit, but I just thought the caliber of products that they have to sell there was everything: pop-up tent, stain remover, paddling pool, neck pillow.
What? Why is there always a paddling pool? I'm sure there has been a paddling pool before.
I know. It felt very much like that old show, The Generation Game, if you remember it. And they had that conveyor belt that went along for the contestants. Saturday Night TV. You don't remember? It was way back
Never
when.
Seen it.
This was prime. My grandparents would always watch it on TV. So, one of the tasks was like a memory game. And so the contestants had to see these things come along a conveyor belt, and there was always a cuddly toy. And so the paddling pool is the Apprentice's cuddly toy.
Nice. So on the topic of weird products, it's time for the elevator pitch. And if you don't know, this is the part of the show where myself and Greer have normally 60 seconds on the clock to present our idea of what we would do on the task to you, the viewers, and maybe even Lord Sugar, and see what you think. And this week it's a slight twist again, because obviously it's a selling task. We're not going to present the whole idea, but what we're going to do is give each other a random product, and we have 60 seconds to sell it to you, our audience, and Lord Sugar.
I'm so excited about this because, well, one, scared, two, excited. I'm scared because we're giving each other a random product from our house, whatever we can find that's weird, because obviously all the products in The Apprentice this week were just weird. So we're going with Raj's thing of everyday household items, but something weird about them. To be honest, James is really big on competition, so he could pick the weirdest thing for me right now to have to sell you.
I'm gonna go first, if that's all right.
So I've got to find an item for you.
Because I've got an item for you. I'm looking at it right now, and I think I've been very nice. I think it's I would want this item.
Oh my god. Okay, right, I'm gonna go find something and then I'll be back.
Okay.
Tension, everyone.
This is stressful. I've had to be really careful not to make a mess here.
Well, we are back and we both have an item. Now, I think the thing that I've picked is very shopping channel worthy. I feel like I've also been quite nice.
Okay, cool.
So
how does it go? What are the rules of engagement here? So are you going to prep the timer and then tell me what the item is?
I think what we do, get 60 seconds on the clock. I then show you the item. I describe it quickly, and then there's no warning. We'll go
straight
ready,
in. Boom,
straight in. Cool. Okay, and because the time pressure's funny, we don't have someone shouting at each other. I think the time pressure will do exactly what it did to Moira and Raj and cause us to be screechy and freak out.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to go first then?
I
James?
do. I'm going to be awful, but I just want to get it. I want to get it.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've been quite nice.
Okay.
With what I've chosen. It's really weird. Right. The timer is there, ready. Now, for the item. By the way, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, head over to our YouTube channel. You can find the link on our Instagram at Back to the Boardroom, because you will want to see James's reaction to the really weird item that I'm about to pick up off the floor. Okay, so is something I was given as an extra in my Christmas present this year, because I always complain of backache being sat over the computer. So I've got for you a neck massager that you can plug in. It's heated. There's sort of round things on it that will massage your back for you, and there's two different ways. It can go anti-clockwise and clockwise, and you can put it on the back of your chair with a strap. Feeling confident? Shopping channel? 3, 2, 1, sell!
Hello everyone, so today I've got this heated neck massager, battery operated for you. It has 2 modes. It can go anti-clockwise and clockwise with these 2 like oscillating massaging things which are heated to soothe your neck. But that's not just all. It may be a neck massager, but it's multifunctional, so you can put it even on your lower back, sit back, and just have some relief from that back pain of sitting down all day, and have that heated element. Now, the price for you is $29.99. We're going to lower it down to $14.49 as our final offer. And yeah, that is cool now. And reserve your neck massager, which also can be used as a massager for any part of the back.
Time! You were quite good! You're out of breath now, though, aren't you?
It was good fun.
That was fun. I thought you're pretty good. But this is definitely shopping channel fodder, I thought.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Worked out well. Okay, now I'm concerned, because I know in James's house, he's currently sat recording in the kitchen, And he walked over, and I'm concerned he's unplugged an appliance and is bringing it back.
So just for the viewers, I have had to prepare the table not to make a mess. The item is actually sitting right next to me, and I have surrounded it in kitchen roll.
Oh my God, what is it? Surrounded it in kitchen roll?
Yeah, just to it's to protect the table because it's a regularly used item in my household. Okay, so I've prepped the timer, 60 seconds. So...
Oh, I'm scared. I'm actually really scared. Why did I say
I think it's a really nice item. What your item here is, I'm just going to try and not make a mess, is the Dishomatic scrubbing device for your dishes.
My life. Okay.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Hi everyone, welcome to the shopping channel today. We've got something that will really enhance your life right now. If you're stood over the sink all of the time, trying to scrub off that grease on your pans, then you need this, the Dishomatic scrubbing brush. Now it's got a long handle. You can pour your detergent straight into the handle, whichever fragrance is your favourite. And you can then have detachable heads that you can put reusable on there and scrub away. Now it's a non-stick sponge on the end of the Dishomatic right now, so you don't have to scratch your pans, and also it's good for the environment because you don't have to buy scrubbing brushes over and over again or sponges over and over again to be thrown away, because this has a handle that you can keep forever and keep refilling. So it's actually a pretty green purchase. Now our price on this, I can't believe it. It's $7.99. I think you should get it. It is a bargain. It looks great in your kitchen. It will work really, really well, and it will save
time.
It looks great in your kitchen, like it's an ornament. What was I saying?
I love the detergent. I thought that was very washing machine-esque.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it was. Wow, I feel like I gave you some pointers on what my item had, like some info, and you were like, "This is the Dishomatic sponge."
Yeah.
Go. It's fine. I know what a scrubbing brush is. Oh, it's quite stressful though, isn't it? No wonder Raj just went with wow.
Just for information, it includes a fairy. What's the one? Cherry and pomegranate. Oh. Do you recommend? And yes, you're right. Non-stick head. You can buy stick heads, but I prefer the non-stick. Now,
as soon as I said non-stick, your eyes lit up. As almost as if I'd said you'd won the lottery.
Well, you were like, yes, you got it.
Detail.
This is the non-stick.
This is an insight into our lives. Now it's time to go through some of our top moments from the week. And there are many this week, including quite a lot of quotes. I think we should talk about, first of all, the bit that made me laugh out loud the most is when Rachel and Trey were trying to sell a paddling pool. And Rachel says, "You can have adult fun in here too."
Yep. And Feluto said something like, "You can get in it and you can squirt each other."
God, the innuendos are here.
Yeah, Tim's reaction really said it all.
It did. There were just some great moments in the things they were saying, because much like we saw in our elevator pitches, when you're under the time pressure, you say some random stuff. Like a dish sponge will look good in your kitchen as an ornament. What I enjoyed Raj saying about a stain remover pen was, "This is the birthday Christmas magic pen gift."
Not forgetting, oh my God, wow. Yeah. That's what my notes say.
Did you type that out?
Yeah, I did, yes.
Amazing. I also liked it was a bit random, but at the end of Moira's tent demonstration, she just said, "Thank you for purchasing your tent," which just, I don't know, it just made me laugh. It was weird.
I get it's under pressure, and yeah, as you said, like being under pressure, you make a lot of mistakes, and obviously the way that it's edited, like these things are potentially on the TV for like a few minutes before a price drop, but you just, obviously the edit makes it seem like price drop.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say, actually. It did look like price drops were happening all the time, but I think they had like 5-minute segments to actually talk and discuss the product. But it seemed frantic, especially with Phil and Flo. Now, I was going to ask you, what did you think of the actual price drops? It's a bit of a weird strategy. Obviously, people aren't going to call in straight away, are they? They're going to know that they're going to drop the prices. So you've got to do a weird balancing act of keeping people there and knowing when they should call or dropping it too much.
Yeah, I don't really understand it, to be honest. I think it's a weird selling tactic, and that's why I'd never buy from one. But it was Feluso and Steve in the gallery.
Yeah.
And I thought, Feluso was completely like so passionate, shouting down the mic. And I don't think I saw that from the other two. I thought they were more composed, but when we got into the boardroom and so on, that didn't. They sort of contradicted that. They said it was quite frantic, but I don't know. I felt much more calmness from Flo and Phil, but maybe that's because I'd just seen the absolute passion barrage of Feluso shouting, holding the mic like this. I think the presenters had lost half their hearing from that.
I think so. I think Feluso, she was enthusiastic, but she kept saying sort of the same thing, like, say, your husband or wife, or give it as a present or whatever. Every time it was the same thing. But I guess she was giving more things for them to actually say, rather than Flo and Phil, who it just seemed they talked a lot about, should we drop the price? Should we drop the price? What do you think? Should we drop it? Oh, I don't know. What do you think? Whereas Feluso and Steve, they did, I feel like, give a little bit more info. But none of the teams in the gallery gave information on the product. And it made me think, were the presenters meant to have sort of done their homework a bit? I don't know, the timings in between things. With the fan, for example, was Raj meant to know, okay, it's got 3 speeds and it's this cold, or, whatever. Or was that meant to be being fed by the gallery? Because that surely is what makes you want to buy, if you know what the product actually does and the info and why it would impact your life. But no one really seemed to be giving the right information, and I don't know who was in the wrong there.
I thought, to be honest, from the gallery, at least from what we saw, I thought, credit to Phil, I thought he did quite well. There was a few times where he would interject quite calmly and be like, right, now ask the presenter to tell a few anecdotes, or I was gonna look what other thing he said, but my notes just say good input from Phil again. But yeah, like wow. I was quite impressed. I thought he definitely passed the buck on a lot of bits, which we'll get to later. But yeah, I thought there was some well-timed good pieces of input there from him.
Nice. Phil's obviously doing well somewhere, despite his losses. I enjoyed after Trey's big speech about being on TV quite a lot. He then, when it was time to do the presenting training, he just stopped talking. When the guy was talking in his ear, he just couldn't deal with listening to everything that was going on, and also then communicating to the public watching. I just thought that was funny, and he just looked like a rabbit in the headlights.
Yeah, definitely. It's he set himself up for failure there, saying all those stats, and Lord Sugar really dug into him, found you a bit wooden. He said, never mind Trey, more like tree or something. Which
that was the other thing that made me actually laugh out loud. Other than Rachel saying you can have adult fun in the small children's paddling pool, when Lord Sugar made the worst joke calling Trey tree, I was like, oh, we've just hit a new low here.
Was that scripted? I don't know.
I mean, I hope not. I hope someone didn't get paid to make that joke.
Trey trying to present the strimmer, I found quite funny. So he did try and demonstrate it, which I don't think went too well. But that was quite funny. And then also, he didn't round up. He said apparently there was a mic or earpiece issue, but they were like, round up, go to the next one. And he was just carrying on. And I don't know. That
it was good.
Made me chuckle.
I liked the sort of contrast of Trey trying to sell the strimmer in a suit. He looked too suave to be doing the gardening.
Yeah. He needed to have like, gardener greens on, if that's the thing. I always associate gardeners with green.
Could have had a green suit. It could have worked.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, of course, how could I not add a moment where it was Moira and Raj and it was just utter chaos. They kept talking over themselves. There was nothing being said apart from, oh my gosh, oh my God. Chaos.
I loved the
Absolute
bit
chaos.
when Raj was about to do her segment. I think it was on the stain remover again. And at the beginning, she was like, I can't see myself. Like, I don't know what she was expecting, but her mic was live. And so that link would have just started on the shopping channel with Lord Sugar watching, going, I can't see myself. I just thought it was great.
So many highlights for me. So now time for a very quick prediction update. And obviously the biggest news is that my winner prediction has fallen. Moira has gone, and therefore both our winner predictions are out. Moira. She lasted a lot longer than Greer's prediction, but nevertheless, they are both incorrect. Phil is still in the works for potentially being the runner-up, and I think the only other prediction we are tracking. Oh, there's two more actually that we're going to track. That we're going to get an update on. Sorry. Firstly, it's the score between Nexus and Supreme. So it was currently 6-0. But of course, Supreme had their first one. So it's now 6-1. So both of us are on track. Greer, you said 7-1. I said 6-2 to be potentially correct. So the final task next week for the two teams. We both are in a chance of getting that one correct. And also, Greer, your double firing prediction. I said episode 8 for the second double firing. You said episode 9, and you are indeed correct.
Finally, I've had a prediction come through. The rest, I feel like you're going to win by default. Even if you don't get the actual specifics, you're going to win because mine were wildly bad. But thankfully, in our second round of predictions, this one has come true for me.
So yeah, well done on that. And it'd be interesting to know what any predictions that you, our listeners, have had.
Yes, is your winner still in? If anyone else joined us from the beginning, the episode in the Highlands where we spoke about our predictions to begin with, did you predict someone to win that is still in? I'll be really impressed if you did, because obviously James and I have both lost that. Now let's go back to the boardroom, and this week Lord Sugar had a lot to say. We've covered the bad jokes about Trey and Tree, obviously. Another thing he said that I enjoyed was, happy birthday, get rid of your stains, which I think sets up his reaction to everyone's performance this week. It was a weird one, wasn't it? I think I didn't know who was going to win. I couldn't tell because obviously I don't feel like either of them sold very much at all. But what we did see, and Lord Sugar agreed with, is that Paul seemed to do really well. I thought that neck pillow pick was just boring, but he sold it quite calmly and talked a little bit medically about muscles and things. He's a dentist, so he used his strengths. And actually, as Lord Sugar said, he was like a duck to water.
Yeah, I was very impressed, and I think it was good that he was, again, project manager, didn't get a choice of who to bring back, but I think it was the right call for Paul to immediately get the free pass because, yeah, did well.
It was a weird one, wasn't it? I think obviously they announced that Supreme had finally got their first win, which was excellent, but then that did mean that Raj got her first loss ever, and Phil had got his 9th loss overall. So yeah,
so two crazy things there. One, from having no losses to getting fired immediately. Wow, I did not expect that. But I guess we are in the later stages, so stakes are high. And I did think everyone sort of was slowly. Raj definitely going all in on the, oh yeah, you've had 9 losses. And I don't know, like, it's true, but if that's what you're going to cling to, I don't know if it's a strong argument. It's, it should be more about this task.
I was shocked that it was Raj that went, because really the failure of the task, even though I really like Flo, I think by saying drop the price, drop the price, drop the price all the time, that was not a good thing to do. And then also Moira, her presenting, I know it's not a presenting task, but it put people off actually buying her sort of overly enthusiastic shouting to the point that people complained to the actual shopping channel station.
Exactly. I feel like Lord Sugar had some enjoyment telling her that someone wrote in saying, have they dragged someone off the street to sell a tent?
They were sat, weren't they? Phil and Flo on one side, and then Raj and Moira on the other. And I thought, they've done that. It's going to be Phil. He's going to finally go double firing with Moira, and then it'll be Raj and Flo back to the house. So I was surprised when Lord Sugar said, okay, well, the project manager should have controlled the situation a bit better. And she was the one going.
Yeah.
Interesting point that you made, though, about how Phil... they were saying, Phil, well, you've lost 9 times. Well, Raj has won 9 times, but this task wasn't great. So actually, the 9 times thing doesn't really mean anything, does it?
So the only thing that I didn't like from Phil, is just he did pass the buck a bit on the price drops. There was at least we saw no dialogue. No, even if he did it one time and maybe put up some resistance, but he just gave it all to Flo and then passed the buck and then didn't really want to take on the responsibility. And I don't know.
It was a bit awkward, wasn't it? Especially when Flo, she seemed quite nervous in the boardroom, and she also said, Phil, by you not taking responsibility, you're sort of what was it, falling on the sword, so she was sort of being sacrificed for the task.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I really do want to see Phil win a task. Like, he's by far the most successful loser that The Apprentice has ever seen, with 9 losses in a row without being fired. He won't get 10 losses in a row without being fired, because he is the project manager for next week, and if he loses, he's gone. So I really want to see him win a task. It's a food one, so
he should do well. Yeah, he should do. I do hope, just as part of his apprentice experience, to actually win a task and do the treat. I would like that for Phil. I did kind of enjoy the moment when all of the other candidates in the boardroom just immediately turned on him for a few moments. I think he felt, ganged up on, and okay, maybe. But they all, caught on to when he said to Flo, okay, I'll take responsibility if that makes you feel better, which was a stupid thing to say, but you say stupid stuff in the boardroom. But then everyone turned and was like, Phil, and they just had a massive go at him for a minute. It was really quite funny.
As for the treat, do you know what? It doesn't even it's not worth talking about because it was that bad. I'm sorry, there's nothing special about it. Let's move on. I'm not even going to mention it.
Not even going to mention it. We're zooming past that.
Yeah. Week 9, disgrace.
Now it's the part of the show where we talk all about Apprentice news, because I've been looking on social media and in all of the terrible tabloids to find out some interesting facts about behind the scenes. And now, this first one that I've got to talk to you about, you've probably already seen it, because last week while we were recording, I got a message saying the candidate who had been fired, Noor, had not turned up for You're Fired, and she just wasn't there, and we had no idea what was going on. But since the episode last week, Noor has uploaded on her Instagram a couple of videos that have explained a bit more about the process in general and how she found it. Now, it's a bit of an interesting watch, really. We've spoken a lot about the house and how pressurized the situation seems to be. And now, from what Noor was saying, obviously this is just her experience, but she'll know more about the process than we do. It sounds pretty tough, and she used some quite strong words, so I thought I'd share some of it anyway, because it is interesting if you haven't seen it and you wondered where she had gone to. So she did a video to begin with describing her time on the show. She actually called it quite a traumatic experience, admitting that she felt controlled by some of the production team, and her mental health suffered quite badly from the experience. And I can see that. You know, you're in a house and you're being told what to do all the time, and you lose sort of that independence, and it's all being done for the show. I do think we see a lot, don't we, in the news about these sorts of TV shows, reality shows, and people having a really tough time mentally on them.
Definitely. And I think potentially even more so when it airs. Like maybe the reaction from the public, because I guess if this is your first time really in the limelight, it could be it's a big thing, right?
Yeah,
I can't comprehend.
I think The Apprentice is interesting because they sort of pitch it as a more serious reality show, don't they? So it isn't something like Love Island where you've gone on for a reason, but the reason in The Apprentice is a bit more, I guess, professional. You wanted to go on, earn an investment, earn something for your career to ultimately boost your business and change your life, really. So there's a lot riding on it, and I imagine everyone wants to do really, really well. But it does sound like, obviously, the house and the tasks and everything is all really heightened. And now something that Noor said that, after the experience, she took some time off and went away abroad just to sort of chill and be calm and sort of feel a bit better from the experience mentally, which I understand. But she also then, as you said, when the show went out, it was an unexpected sort of backlash. You're open to everyone's opinions. But something that she said during the production, you'll always be on edge. It was very controlled. That's the best way to describe it. It would be emails, it would be phone calls, it would be fake profiles. It was just a lot. So I'm just thinking, why am I getting controlled so much? There was just a bigger, darker thing around this show. And I'm so happy that I'm not part of this anymore. And she went on to say that because there was some sort of control over what you can and can't do and say during the filming, but also then later on about sort of PR and making the most of the opportunity, she said that she felt that her blessings from the show were getting taken away from her by the production team, which is quite disappointing to hear, really, because you do want to make the most about your 5 minutes in the limelight to better your career and your sort of prospects, I guess, professionally. So it was quite sad to hear that she thought that the experience hadn't done what she had hoped.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's nice to see anyone feel that way. Obviously, we have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, what is said, what you can and can't do. But yeah, it's not great to hear. And also coming back to like the mental health aspect, I really hope there is after show care and support, because like as I said before, it's a big thing. You're suddenly having millions of members of the public see your face on a weekly basis, and sometimes portrayed in, I guess, not a flattering way. That could have massive impact. Like I don't know how I'd probably feel awful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just hope there is that kind of after show support, especially when it's airing.
That's true. There was, on the article that I read, the BBC did say about sort of the support on offer too, that they have a dedicated welfare team to support the candidates throughout the process, and they're proactive in ensuring that the welfare procedures are under constant review and are updated each series. Some more light-hearted ones in the news this week too. Now we've got, I know you'll be happy to know, there's some news from Verdi. He's not gone completely.
Yes, come on.
Yes. So DJ Verdi, the international DJ Verdi, actually wrote a piece for Yahoo News about his time on The Apprentice, saying, and I think this is amusing, I actually quite liked the Apprentice Losers Cafe. After all, I was there 7 times. Which was great. But the bit of news that I wanted to bring you, which I think you'll find hilarious, is that his favourite thing about the cafe was that the owners got to know him and his order straight away. So he'd been there so many times, so he'd sit down and his coffee would just be ready for him. They knew how he liked it.
I wonder if they have to pay or whether it's paid for them.
Don't know. The production team could pay, but also they're going out free advertising. The Bridge Cafe is not blurred out.
Maybe, yeah. Or La Cabana, don't forget.
Oh, yeah, the second one.
Hold the press.
Oh.
I have my own bit of Apprentice news.
What? How dare you?
It's a bit more personal to the show, and that is Mr. Phil Turner has been in contact with us. Actually, I reached out to him, and he has kindly sent us over 8 of his award-winning pies.
No way!
So, 4 for me, 4 for you. So we've got 4 of the same.
Okay.
And I think what we are going to do, they haven't arrived yet, but we need to do a taste test on the podcast.
How amazing is this? Phil is going to be project manager next week. We could do the podcast eating one of Phil's pies.
Yeah.
It's a Phil spectacular next week.
I am excited, and thank you so much, Phil, for being up for it.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate the free pie, and we're gonna have some fun with that over the coming episode.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, Phil, thank you so much for being a great sport. I know we talk about you losing all the time, but we're excited to see how you do as a project manager next week, surrounded by some of the delicious pies. Well, there we have it. The shopping channel task has been completely dissected by us, and I think it was a great one. It's always so fun to see them squirm and get stressed out and try and sell some terrible things on TV. So it's been a good one. Next week, I think it's going to be even better if that's possible. They are having to come up with a vegan alternative for cheese. What? That's just mad. And we've got Phil in the hot seat. There's a bit of tension. If he doesn't win, he is straight out the door into that taxi. So I'm looking forward to it.
Come on, Phil.
Come on, Phil. James wants to win the competition, obviously. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And also say hello and let us know which one of our sales pitches you thought was the best this week in our YouTube comments, but also on Instagram at Back to the Boardroom. Please say hello. James, do you have a final thought for us this week?
My final thought is, who writes in to the shopping channel to complain about the presenter being too enthusiastic or annoying or whatever they said? Just yeah. That's all I have to say.
Questionable member of the public, I guess. There's definitely one I'll be puzzling on for a while. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, everyone. We'll be back here next week with vegan cheese. Who knew? This podcast keeps getting weirder and weirder. But for now, bye from us.
Bye.